Jervis Bay on the south coast of New South Wales. It's popular with holiday makers, divers and sharks.
You get lots of different types of sharks, such as Port Jackson sharks, crested horn sharks, great whites, but we actually don't know a lot about the different species that inhabit this bay.
We don't think of sharks as social creatures, but in fact we're discovering that many are. And that's what these scientists are here to study. They're investigating the social dynamics of the incredibly cute Port Jackson shark, and they're heading out to catch a few now.
What we want to say at the end of our research is whether the Port Jacksons are actively preferring to hang out with particular individuals and why they're choosing these individuals.
During the late winter and early spring, Port Jackson sharks enter Jervis Bay and gather to form aggregations in the shallow reefs, kelp and seagrass beds.
Well, we don't know how important these aggregations are to their mating and to their feeding, and so we really need to start looking into these reasons.
It's from these aggregation sites that Joe and Nathan find their study subjects. I'm getting the chance to handle one of these cute little critters with volunteer Daniel. Of course, one of the big attractions of working with Port Jacksons is they're harmless.
They show very little stress response to capture and handling as well. The Port Jackson shark is actually an excellent model species, and we take a lot of measurements that you can't take on other, more harder to work with sharks.
So Nathan, these are both males. Are they all males out there?
They're not all males. We do get some females occasionally, but being so early on in the season, there's a vast majority of males out there.
Clasp length is 17 centimetres.
Clasp length? Does this vary much in these sharks? Does size matter to a Port Jackson?
We don't actually know whether a size matters. This is essentially to determine whether it's sexually mature or not.
You've got two of those things. Press it. Despite the Port Jacksons being easy to catch and handle, it's still a challenge to observe their behaviour in the wild. But new technology is making this easier. Tagging selected subjects with acoustic transmitters allows the researchers to track their movements and interactions, to find out who is hanging out with whom. The transmitter is inserted into the shark's stomach and out with whom. The transmitter is inserted into the shark's stomach and emits a unique identifying signal.
You just need to make a small 2.5 centimetre incision to pop the tag into his stomach cavity.
So that'll just float around between its organs?
Yep.
The signal is picked up by different types of proximity receivers. Located around the bay and along the coastline are acoustic listening stations with a range of 300 metres. They detect large-scale movements. But it's a very new type of receiver attached to the shark's dorsal fin that's providing novel insight into who the sharks are associated with.
They let us look at the interactions within 4 metres of each other, so we can really get a good idea of who is interacting with who and for how long these interactions are remaining constant.
So how long will this tag dorsal fin that's providing novel insight into who the sharks are associated with?
They let us look at the interactions within 4 metres of each other, so we can really get a good idea of who is interacting with who and for how long these interactions are remaining constant.
So how long will this tag stay on the shark for?
For approximately 2 months.
Okay.
And then we have to take them off to download them to receive the data.
So you've got to retrieve this shark, you've got to go and catch it to get
We
the
have
tag
to go and
back.
recatch this shark. Yeah.
Gotcha. Applying social network analysis to data collected last year, Nathan is already getting a picture of the Port Jackson's social diary.
We have 10 females and 10 males. The size of each square represents the size of the individual. What the lines tell us in between each of these squares is the strength of those associations. So the thicker the line, the more frequently those two sharks interacted with each other. When we run our analysis, that tells us that these particular sharks were hanging out in a non-random fashion. They were choosing to be with with those particular individuals.
And they found that they were forming these associations over a period of time.
What this means is that their relationships are stable, so it's kind of as if they have their own group of friends.